Hi there, Victor Pross speaking to you, anarchist artist. Okay, today a quick little word about the concept of the nanny state. The nanny state, very broadly speaking, that's a state that indicates that the government or the state assumes a parental role that its purpose is to not only to protect the individual, like protect the individual not only in the sense of what the American Revolution was all about, the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, whereas it was to protect the liberties of individuals against those who would assert violence against their fellow citizens, that the government was to step in to protect those who would assert violence or attempt theft and or otherwise physical bodily harm. The government's sole function, according to the American form of government and its original founding principles, was to protect the individual against aggression. But you have an extra step, though, an extra premise within the conception of the nanny state, that not only was it to protect the individual against aggression, whether that be domestic or foreign, but it was also to actively take part in the well-being of the individual, in that it was to provide, let's say, a social safety net, the welfare state, and that's where you have government interfering in the sex life of the individual and tampering into the field of medicine to provide old age pensions and welfare and protective laws, whether it be the wearing seat belts or not to sell alcohol or tobacco to minors, that type of thing. There's all types of instances where you have what is called the nanny state, and basically, as I say, the state assumes the role of a parental figure. That parental figure asserts its authority. It could be very draconian in doing so, but ultimately, though, it is for the ultimate good of the individual. This is what is asserted, and or colloquially, it could be said to that it's dishing out tough love, and then you also have that very cute phrase of benevolent dictatorship. So this is the conception of the nanny state, and it's a premise of which quite a few people accept, that the state is some kind of guardian, and that there's a lot of people who do fear freedom and their individuality. They feel that they themselves are not enough to meet the requirements of survival, and therefore they want this massive Goliath known as the state to be their ultimate survivor, so to offer a guarantee that they will not fall through the cracks, so to speak. I mean, it's one thing to be worried about a mugger, and there's the state to protect you, with the police and things like that, contractual disagreements, to have a impartial third-party arbiter to settle any disputes. That's all well and good. I mean, they value that, but ultimately it's a fear of freedom and their own individuality that they cling to the idea of the nanny state. Now we see that even with the American experiment, the American government, where the attempt of the founding fathers was to subordinate the state to the interest of the citizens. That was only in the sense of a protector, though. It was not to. It was to guarantee a man's right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It didn't assume the role to actively to ensure that a person will be provided with all those good things, with prosperity and happiness. It wasn't the function of the state to actively to provide shelter and food and what have you, but only to leave the individual alone to pursue his quest for happiness. So that is kind of a very important distinguishing factor of separating the American form of government and with this conception called the nanny state. Now, when we look at either case, though, it kind of reminds me, it's kind of akin to the battered wife. You have this phenomenon of the battered wife syndrome, where the government, as a matter of fact, or the spouse rather in this case, let's say, the spouse in this case, is just proven to be, throughout the 20 years of marriage, is just proven to be physically and emotionally abusive. Okay, that's all this person has been. I mean, it's not like some kind of like moral lapse here and there, and it's not just something that was an aberration to an otherwise usually good man. This guy is just a thorough asshole through and through. He's just an emotional and physical abuser. But the woman, though, sticks with this guy because she's suffering from what can be said to be called a battered wife syndrome, where, you know, her whole psychology is that she's going to turn this guy around. There's a good guy in there somewhere, and marriage is a sacrament. It's, you know, she's committed herself. It's marriage is sacred, and lo and behold, that she's gonna find the gem in this guy, the little jewel that is hidden deep within the recesses of his mind and his soul, and God damn it, she's gonna turn him around and make him a good guy, make him the kind of man that she's always dreamed that she's wanted. And you can see this kind of psychology when it comes to the state, that we're not going to divorce the state. What we're going to do is we're going to try to turn it around to make it serve us in some capacity. So you have that with the American government, where might has been subordinated to right, at least in the intention, or at least in the broad abstraction, at least on paper, at least in theory. That is the attempt to turn this massive Goliath, the Leviathan, this blood-drenched institution, this battering husband of an institution, to turn it around to be something other than it's not. And you find that with the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, the whole American form of government. The Founding Fathers certainly had the broad scope of history before them to know, and they were not only men of action, they were thinkers as well. So they were well studied in philosophy, and they were well studied in history. They knew, I mean, they escaped from a tyrannical government, the despotism of kings, and that's exactly what they wanted to declare their independence from. And so they wanted to take the mighty Goliath along with them, the state, the whole conception of this idea of the state, to take that with them, though, not to throw it out and toss it to the curb, but no, they wanted to subdue it. They wanted to domesticate it. They wanted to make it something that was going to serve the interests of the population, of the citizenry, of the individual. And so you have this mentality, this battered wife syndrome mentality, when it comes to all those constitutionalists out there. Boy, they're gonna turn that fucking ship around, boy, but single-handedly. You know, they're going to swim to the ocean bottom, raise the Titanic, and make that ship fucking sail and do as they want, and to have the government return to its proper functions, as philosopher Ayn Rand said. And you also have that with the Nanny State too. There's a lot of people who realize that they consider themselves to be enlightened, they consider themselves to be edified, they know that politicians are corrupt. They'll speak very despairingly of their own government, but they just will not toss out the conception of government, of which they hold and want to coddle and nurse in their mind, that somehow, someday, sometimes in the future, perhaps, maybe beyond, when they're not living anymore, but somehow they're going to take that broad abstraction of the state, and we'll have this cuddly little teddy bear called the state, that's going to serve the people. And this is just, for me, this is just very bad. This is an indication of a certain kind of psychology, and one that is not very well equipped, I would say. So it's not a matter of philosophy when it comes to those individuals. It's just a matter of bad psychology. And because really, when you get down to it, though, the reason why I say that, though, is that because what they're attempting to do is to domesticate a great white shark. You know, they're trying to turn the state into something that it's not. When we look at the state by what it is by its very nature, its foundations lies in bloodshed. It was a matter of conquering the divide. The state has always been everywhere globally for all time as a universal phenomena, has been one of plunder and wholesale death. And this is the type of institution that they're trying to domesticate. So they're trying to domesticate, like I say, a great white shark, and no matter how many times it's chewed up and spat out Robert Shaw as Quint, never mind that. Just never mind. We're going to get that shark and we're going to put it in one big ass large swimming pool. So we're going to have our kids swim in it. The kids represent the citizens. The shark is the state. And instead of swallowing up the kids, it's going to have take the kids on for a little joy ride and swim around in the pool, and everybody's going to have fun. And of course, this is just a very desperately sad fantasy. But there you have it. It's the only thing that we can do is fight these ideas with better ideas. So that's my 2 cents on the Nanny State. It's Victor Pross signing out. Anarchist artist, pop goes the culture.